So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everybody to today's Career Fair, the May 2024 edition. It's a pleasure to have everybody on board, and even those that will actually be able to get this from the recording that we're going to have. Today we are happy to have around 4 presentations. The first one is going to come from a gentleman from ACCA, known as Lamek. Okay, Lamek is, I would say, is the person actually who really ensures that that ACCA is developing in this country. As you can see, probably just to read from his bio, is that Lamek Mito is an accomplished business relationship manager, managing relationships with educators and employers with 14 years of experience at ACCA. And of course, ACCA stands for the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. His expertise lies in cultivating and nurturing strong business connections. Throughout his career, he has contributed significantly to the growth and success of the organization. In terms of background, Lamek possesses a solid background in marketing and sales. His previous roles include working with esteemed companies such as Harmony Insurance Brokers Limited, Madison Insurance Limited, Midland Howlers, Midcom, and ACCA, where he is currently. His comprehensive understanding of market dynamics and client needs have been instrumental in driving business results. In terms of career development advocate, we're saying that Lamek is deeply passionate about career development. As a sought-after speaker, he has participated in numerous career fairs across the country. His commitment extends beyond the podium. Over the years, he has mentored and guided countless students, equipping them with the essential skills needed to thrive in their professional journeys. Lamek Mito's dedication to fostering meaningful relationships and empowering others makes him an invaluable asset to any team. So to all that are attending, you can see the kind of a person that we are going to be hearing from. So it's really an honor personally, as well as for this whole entity of IET, to be having Lamek Mito with us. So Lamek, I want to welcome you to today's session and feel very, very appreciated that you are able to create our time in your busy programs that actually, I know, running a country on some of these issues is not a joke. So feel most welcome, and the floor is yours. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Dennis, and good afternoon, everyone. Maybe I'll just flash my video briefly for purposes of not interfering with our connectivity, and also for purposes of my physical introduction. I don't know if my video is showing from your end. Dennis, you can confirm, as I also try to put up my presentation.
Oh, sorry, I'm saying that your presentation, we can be able to see that, but your video is not yet showing.
Okay, confirm to me that my PowerPoint is up.
Yeah, your PowerPoint is up. You can see the global mindset as the screen showing. Yeah,
it's showing. Okay, great. Thank you very much once again, and very good afternoon to everyone who is managed to join this webinar this afternoon. I'm glad to be here, and just as I've been introduced, well, this is what I do, and I'm always glad to be able to come and just share some of the industry insights with our potential students, just so that you can be able to get a comfortable settlement in our various endeavors in the pursuit of employment. So Lamek works for ACCA, which is the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, currently as a business relationship manager. And as it has been outlined, my bio outlines exactly what I do for ACCA. And of course, just like it's been mentioned, my work evolves around working with educators, where IET falls, and alongside other educators like the universities, as well as also employers. Now at ACCA, we have a program called Approved Employer Program, where from time to time we reach out to the employers just to make them really be able to appreciate what ACCA really entails, and in terms of the competencies that ACCA is able to SCCA is able to offer. I'm told my video is not showing. I don't know why. Are you able to see? Oh, sorry, my camera was shut down.
Sure, we can see you now.
You can see me now. Oh, great, thanks.
Sure.
Yeah, so just like I've said, that is what I do for SCCA, and I'm always happy to go out and share these insights with the people around. And this goes around the students, the graduates, and those who already are in the employment field. Now, my today's presentation is just for us to be able to delve into looking at some of the, the emerging trends in the industries. And the emerging trends here is we are looking at now the global mindset, appreciating the fact that there's been a lot of ripple effect caused by technology, which is now making the industry to really, diversify, and also every organization being at the pace of seeking to gain, the global space. And so that is why today I want us to just look at the global mindset. And when you talk about the global mindset, it's all about value addition. Yeah. And the value addition here is you're looking at how can you be able to, arm yourself with the necessary skill set for the future. And just like I mentioned, the impact of technology has really caused a lot of ripples in the industry space. Now, who is SCCA? SCCA is a global body which covers, or rather operates across the globe. And you can see, as it's always said, numbers don't lie. We are currently present in more than 100, we have more than 100 offices across the world. And currently we take pride in, a volume of students pool, which is now more than 500,000. And we also have currently more than 200,000 members globally. We currently have our student members in more than 179 countries, which is currently now ranging to 180 plus different nationalities. In terms of percentage composition of those who stays within the UK and outside, we have 57% of all our SCCA members based outside the UK, and 81% of our students based outside the UK. Now, when you talk about the global mindset, you'd also be interested to really get to understand and to be able to appreciate some of the opportunities that are available out here. As an individual who is seeking a career path, it's always important to be able to understand some of the emerging trends within the industry. And we look back at a decade of opportunities, which has actually been pushed by a number of factors that we'll be touching on briefly. Now, we've identified three areas that have actually come up as a result of the opportunities presented by this decade. We look at number one, the significant drivers of change which are shaping the organizations, and we'll be looking at that. And just so that we are able to appreciate on how best we can be able to arm ourselves with the necessary prerequisites to be able to fit into such into such a space. Then number two is the sustainability, which is now currently becoming the defining imperative in our age. We'll also be looking at sustainability because today you realize that every single organization is skeptical about sustainability. And this has actually impacted in a number of ways, some of which we see being evident in the rate of employee turnover today. And we see a lot of insecurity in terms of job opportunities. Then finally, we are looking at the how to be able to reimage the profession. That is, to a wider extent, the careers that we have. How do we actually map them to be able to fit into the future, considering that the future is also being greatly impacted by technology. Dennis, kindly confirm to me that I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are loud and clear.
Great, thanks. So just to share with you this brief excerpt, just so that we are able to, set stage on where we really are and what we really need to do to be able to fit. Now, I picked this about leadership facts, and what it's saying is that in these exceptional times, society's values are shifting faster than ever as citizens seek a fairer and more ethical world. I choose to read it word by word because I would not want to really belabor and to really, extract the gist of it. To restore trust, business leaders have a crucial role in minimizing environmental damage and putting social responsibility at the heart of strategy. We need sustainable businesses that deliver financial returns while generating positive value for society and being environmentally responsible for the planet. Professional accountants are in a unique position to make real impactful change and be at the center of sustainable development, including driving climate action in the organizations they lead and work for. And from making business decisions to reporting on carbon dioxide emissions to measuring social impact, the skills, judgment, and approach of professional accountants have a vital role in this effort. Their rounded, data-informed, ethical approach, along with their breadth of view, means that they have a vital role in this effort. Professional accountants are at the heart of decision-making and strategy, playing a critical role in developing credible and resilient businesses that drive long-term value in ways that are more meaningful than before. They also have a central role in developing, applying, and assuring fast evolving reporting and auditing standards on value and sustainability. Now, why am I bringing this on board? It's just so that we are able to appreciate where the future belongs and the magnitude of opportunities that lies ahead of us, especially looking at those careers that affect or rather impact all other careers. And it goes without saying that the career in the line of accounting, finance, and business management happens to be one that affects every single line of career. And so going by what the environment now presents to us, going by matters value, going by matters ethics, matters data, analytics, then we are able to appreciate the magnitude of opportunities that have been presented to us as a result of the decade that we've just had in the recent past. Now, what are we looking at in terms of the decades? It is one decade where we've seen a lot of enhancement of technological technological dispensation. We see a lot. We see, cybercrime being on the rise. We see organizations being on the run, and every other time you realize you can be surprised on, the magnitude of fines and penalties that organizations face in the face of, the technological misdemeanors like cybercrime. And so this in equal measure also presents huge opportunities for us because now the society is more concerned about value. The society is more concerned about sustainability and so on and so forth. So in terms of the careers that we are seeking to undertake, we need to also see to it and also identify on how these careers are also fitting into this kind of space. Remembering that whatever the excerpt I've just read here, it also is aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Now, with all that said and done, now you may want to ask yourself this set of 7 questions. Number 1 is to ask yourself, do you really have what it takes? Number 2, which career paths in the new normal do you fit in? considering the impact of technology, and we see roles coming in and going out. We see many, careers being phased out, and we see as many of them as being, phased in. So which career paths in the new normal do you fit in? And also not forgetting the in the recent past when we had the COVID-19 pandemic, and we see even post-COVID, a number of things have changed. And we are now today talking about the new normal, where there are people who have actually moved from the tradition of 8 to 5 working, and not necessarily reporting to physical offices. And now this is going to be the new normal. Number 3, what is your competitive advantage? What is it that you possess that the rest may never have? We know that the country produces as many graduates every year, and so you need to also position yourself in such a way that you have a competitive advantage that makes you to stand out. Number 4, how do you future-proof your career? Knowing that some of the careers we know today may be phased out even before we actually complete such careers that we are undertaking currently. How do you future-proof your career? Number 5, how can you take the advantage of the digital era? How can you take advantage of the digital era? Because we live in such a time where information is right at the back of our palm. All that it depends on is how best we are able to prioritize the kind of information you want to take in. Number 6, how do you position yourself? Suppose we're actually now in an interview. How do you position yourself in such a way that you'll be able to stand out, that you would be that potential client candidate that the organization is so much desiring to have? And finally, how do you leverage on the fact that you are in school? If you have an opportunity to take a study, how do you leverage on that fact? You remember that at times in life, there are things that you cannot be able to just do, like you can do them while you're still in school. For men, some of them settle down into setting up families after education. To our ladies, they probably also settle down and they probably sire children, and now responsibility starts creeping in. How do you leverage on the fact that you are in school? Now, having asked all those questions, then we look at how then can we be able to make ourselves, relevant in the face of this, economic dispensation. Now, at SCCA, we've worked a lot with employers, and we've actually been able to come up with 5 career zones where opportunity really lies. We say that an individual need to possess certain qualities that will make them fit into an organization. And today, organizations are not just about looking at your degree certificate. They're not just looking at that particular, certificate that you have, but they want to also be able to really understand and see that you also come on board with a number of, values that will be able to help the organization to, counter some of the challenges that businesses face. And the 5 that we have here is we are looking at number 1, being an assurance advocate. Number 2, being a business transformer, being a data navigator, a digital playmaker, and the sustainability trailblazer. Now, being an assurance advocate, this is where we expect that you have, the new levels of trust and integrity, that can always be looked up to by an organization. We all know how bad it is that organizations are actually faced with matters corruption, matters, unethical practices. And so we need also individuals who joins an organization but brings on board their prowess around, the matters being able to apply best practices in operations. Number 2 is the business transformer. Now, are you that individual who will come into an organization and within a very short span of time, you're able to turn around things, coming up with, wealth of ideas that will help the organization to move from point A to point B. Number 3 is the data navigator. As you all know today, no decision can ever be made without, the involvement of data. So do you have that, skill set that you can be able to also have the ability to interpret data? Because now data happens now to be the main language of business today. The digital playmaker. Now, most business models are actually now shifting from the former, manual systems into more automated systems. So you, as an individual, you need to also have some digital, skill sets that will enable you to also fit into the space of digitization of the business processes. And finally, the sustainability trailblazer, where now you are that individual who looks through the organization's objective and understands some of the challenges that may become, an impediment to the organization being able to achieve its objectives, and being able to also share such insights in a more strategic way that will help the organization to be able to counter those kind of challenges. Now, as an individual, you need to at least find your footage in at least one of these zones, or at best, if you can find your footage in all these zones, then I can tell you for sure you'll be more than ready and potential for any employer that will actually be looking around you. Now, having said that, again, now at SCCA, we believe in competencies. Yeah, when we take you through our training, we are actually developing your competencies, and this is what we are able to present to the employer so that they are able to appreciate some of the competencies that an individual who's undertaken SCCA is able to actually also, present. Now we have these 9 areas of competencies. Number 1 is financial management. Number 2 is governance, risk and control. Number 3 is leadership and management. Number 4 is stakeholder relationship management, which is specifically what I'm actually standing up to now at SCCA. Number 5 is strategy and innovation. As I mentioned earlier, that businesses or rather organizations or employers will always begin to bring in individuals who are strategic, who can be able to come up with more strategic ideas that will enable the organizations to, achieve their objectives. And of course, innovation. And we saw this just in the recent past when COVID struck. We saw as many organizations going under. Why? Because they did not have the strategy, the innovation that could enable them to become relevant in the face of the ripple that was caused by COVID-19. But we also saw in equal measure as many organizations being able to thrive even during that time. If there's any time that content creators ever made money, it was during COVID-19. And if there's any time that most of them, most of our celebrities also lost it, was during that time. So it's all about being strategic and being able to be innovative. The other one is management accounting. As you'll understand that we'll always find ourselves managing finances either directly or indirectly. You may not be an accountant, you may not be an auditor, but probably by virtue of your line of career, you may be probably having some management of finances in the docket that you are. For example, I am not an accountant as SCCA. I'm a stakeholder relationship manager. But again, what do I do? From time to time, I'll always find myself, interacting with finances. Yeah. And this will actually require that I need to also have an in-depth understanding of financial management systems so that at the end of the day, when the organization is priding itself of achieving its objectives, then I can also be able to point out the ways that I was able to also either help cut down the cost or enhance our spending in such a way that it is remaining aligned to our business objectives. There's ethics and professionalism. Yeah, as we know that most organizations are actually, impacted by the lack of best practices through corrupt practices. But now at SCCA, we also have this module that will enable or rather develop our students to be able to appreciate the need to always employ best practices. Advisory and consultancy. We see many organizations today now going out into advisory, and consultancy. This is a very lucrative area that is now has now emerged as a result of the shared practices by the many organizations. Today, we see a lot of outsourcing of services by a number of organizations. And so, an individual, you need to position yourself in such a way that you have prowess in this particular area. And finally, data, digital, and technology. We understand the impact of technology today. The cybersecurity has really impacted on industries, and we've also seen an equal huge share of crimes being developing as a result of that. And so there's a need for organizations to also shelve themselves, either by looking at how do they get to manage risks and also controlling risks under the governance, risk and control, which is part of the competencies that we have here. So these are some of the areas that as an individual, you need to also see to it that despite your current career path, do you have anything that really fits you in any of this position? And so this is why at SCCA, we constantly preach about career enhancement. You may have engineering degree, you may have law degree, you may have medicine degree, but again, it is important to also enhance it with those career paths that will make you as relevant in the face of financial management, accounting, and business management. Now, as you study SCCA, you can be able to stand a chance to take up multiple career paths, which you can be able to undertake at any given time. And this really fits into one of the 7 questions I was asking. How do you really, future-proof yourself? Future-proofing means you have multiple skills, multiple career paths that at any given time, they'll still remain, relevant in the face of any kind of disruption. So SCCA, you realize that is a single qualification, but giving you multiple, options, career options. You can become a forensic accountant, a role that is majorly known for maybe people in actuarial science, financial accountant, partner, chief finance officer, group accountant, credit control manager, external auditor, internal auditor, business analyst, which is another role that can be undertaken by those with economic background. They have business advisor, risk manager again. This can also be undertaken by the actuaries. We have treasurer, we have compliance with governance officers. Now, all these are embedded in the SCCA program. Now, you may be asking yourself, then how do you get to earn all these skills? Then this is where you are able to do it. At SCCA, we have exams to be undertaken, but of course we have different entry routes. So at SCCA, we have what we call the Foundation in Accounting and Business, which is a suit meant for those who may not have been able to meet the the minimum requirement for the SCCA mainstream. So for Foundation in Accountancy, we have 7 units. So an individual whose high school qualification does not meet the requirement of a C+ mean grade, a C plain in English, and a C plain in mathematics, or rather for those who have undertaken IGCSE, we require you to have undertaken both A-level and O-level. And if you don't meet that, then again, with O-level alone, we can take you through the foundation in accountancy. Now we have 7 units to be completed, and upon which, once you complete, you can earn yourself a diploma certificate in accounting and business. Now, after that, the next is we have the SCCA qualification, which is the mainstream. Now you'll see that it is divided into 3 parts. We have the applied knowledge, we have applied skills, and we have the strategic professional. And you can begin to see that even at the heart of strategy, SCCA is very keen on, imparting strategy at the heart of the SCCA, training. Now, part 1, which is applied knowledge, is an equivalent of the foundation in accountancy that we just touched on in the previous slide. So it means that for those who come through that foundation level, they will not come and begin from the applied knowledge. They'll go straight to applied skills. Yeah, so they can be able to still proceed on as they undertake the journey towards attaining the overall SCCA qualification. Now, at the applied skills, upon completion, an individual will earn themselves an advanced diploma in accounting and business. Then after that, they can also by way of undertaking the ethics and professional skills module, which is a module I had mentioned, feeds in to the requirement of ethics. You'll be able to undertake that, then now move on to the strategic professional. Now, as strategic professional, again, we try as much as possible to address the demands of the employer. How do we do that? We tend to bring the the workplace environment into the exam room. So, for example, this paper, the strategic business leader, it is a paper that encompasses the overall, the 360 degrees of the operations within an organization, but now it is brought into the exam room. Why do we do that? So that we have our candidates, our students, to be able to appreciate what it is that happens when it comes to the applicability of that which is learned in class. Then we also have strategic business reporting, where now, as you all know, there'll always be aspects of reporting, and we need, constructive reporting. So that also gives you that. And then, of course, we have the optional bit where we expect an individual to pick any two. At this level, you'll be already, specializing in whichever area that you deem fit for yourself. Then, of course, again, another feature that you need to understand about the strategic professional level is that they're being examined at the level of master's program. Now, here is where we apply what we call synthesis and evaluation. So, as an individual, whether you have an undergrad degree, you can always, be able to have the benefit of enjoying or having a feel of the master's programs. And that will actually mark the end of your ACCA journey. Now, remember, at this level, we've already undertaken the ethics and we've already undertaken all the ACCA exam units. However, the overall ACCA completion will never be complete without the aspect of the practical experience. So we expect an individual, other than completing all the exams and undertaking the ethics and professional skills module, that individual needs to also showcase their practical experience in over a period of 36 months, which is 3 years. And that will earn you the ACCA membership. Now, just to share maybe with you some of the faces that we probably may know, public figures who have also been undertaken ACCA. And you can also see and appreciate the fact that with ACCA, it's not about always becoming an accountant or becoming an auditor. Like I mentioned, out of the 9 competency framework, there are a number of areas that an individual can pick on, which can also form a complete line of career that an individual can take. Now, for example, we have Charles Rigera, who is a fellow of ACCA. Charles Rigera is the current CEO of Higher Education Loans Board. And Charles Rigera, having undertaken ACCA, he decided to dwell in the area of risk. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier in the competency framework, one of the competencies that ACCA, our ACCA members also earn in the course of their learning is on matters risks. So Rigera really, settled on risk, and he's worked before with Cooperative Bank as the head of enterprise wide risk management at Cooperative Bank, which was between the year 2004 to the year 2006. And after that, he moved to the group to KCB as a group operational risk and compliance. So you can see how those competencies come into play when it comes to you pursuing your line of career. And just the fact that there are multiple, you will never fall short of an opportunity at any given time. And finally, he's currently the Chief Executive Officer and Board Secretary. And one of the things that Rigera has done, if you looked at the 5 zones of career, future careers, he's been able to become the sustainability trailblazer of a Higher Education Loans Board, and he's also been able to bring in even more value to the Higher Education Loans Board. Before he joined the HELB, Higher Education Loans Board, the organization never used to give loans to salaried employees, salaried students. But with his coming, he was able to introduce this, which has actually seen HELB improving on its books of accounts. Yeah, so that is what we actually endeavor to do, that we want individuals who can bring value to the organization. at any given time they join. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that part of my work also involves working with employers. So from time to time, we seek to bring employers on board through our MOUs, which now enables us to create or to pave way for our students to be easily considered by these employers. So we've currently developed a platform called the ACCA Career Skills Builder. This is where we bring on board all the organizations that we partner with, and we sign an MOU where these organizations will always seek talent from our pool of talents. Yeah, and that makes our ACCA students, makes it easier for them to be able to be considered by this organization because they already understand the competencies of our students. So at any given time, you can always just Google ACC's Career Skills Builder. This is where you get internship opportunities. You can also get some short courses that will help you to enhance your career path. But of course, we highly recommend that you become an ACCA student to be able to fully and adequately utilize this kind of facility. Of course, you'll see that it will be able to outline any existing opportunities with whichever organization, and this is applied globally. Now, as a student, if gaining a competitive advantage is anything to go by, then it would be prudent that you find your footage within the ACCA space, which now allows you to seek employment opportunities, not just in Kenya, but around the globe. Now, how do you then register as an to become an ACCA student? You'll need to supply us with your identification document. This can either be a national ID, it can be a birth certificate, or a travel passport. And we also require academic certificates for those who have just come from high school. We require that you supply us with your KCSE result slip. And if you're a graduate, we may require that you supply us with the degree certificate. But of course, there are grounds sometimes where the degree qualifies for to earn you some exemptions. So over and above the degree certificate, we'll request that you share with us your degree certificate as well as the transcripts. And also, we do consider other professional qualification like CASNEP, CPA, CPA-K. We consider CPA-K for exemptions, and they'll actually be awarded on pro rata basis. And how much does it cost you to become an ACCA member? We have a one-off registration fee of £36, which is currently in accordance with the current exchange rate, would actually cost you about 6,500 shillings. So, and we'll always be able to guide you on how to make that payment. If you are that particular individual who would want to take the journey to ACCA, then you may want to just share those particular documents through the WhatsApp number that I've indicated down there, and we'll be able to support your registration process. And up to that point, just to say a big thank you as I wait to be directed if at all we may have any questions. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much, and over to you, Dennis.
Okay, thank you very much, Lamek. I think that was quite a presentation. I believe with that kind of information out, we have a much better understanding of the ACCA and the kind of enrollments that we expect when the students actually come in. I don't know if there's anybody who has a question for Lamek. And of course, Lamek, for other questions that may come from the engagements of the recordings, probably we'll also be able to forward them to you. But at this juncture, is anybody who has a question for Lamek? Anyone? The floor is yours now. Okay, I'll assume the silence means we are okay. So Lamek, thank you very much. As I said, once again, I know you're a busy person, but we are honored that you're able to create time for us to make the presentation. I've always been looking forward to it, and we expect more engagements to actually be coming forward. Thank you so much, and we'll engage more probably outside the meeting. Santi.
Yeah, thank you to Dennis, and thanks to everyone. Have a great weekend ahead.
So, Santi. So the next item on our list, we are going to have a presentation on the cover letter. That will be done by me. Allow me to share my slide. So thank you so much, everyone. Once again, apologies for the delay and the challenges, the interconnection that I had. So my role today is to make a presentation on how to craft a winning cover letter. First, I'd like to welcome everybody to IET. IET is a company that deals in training, both retail and corporate, and we've been in the trade for 34 years. We are in Nairobi, Buruburu, and Mombasa. We're going to be sharing the specific locations as we proceed. So the essence of making the presentation on cover letters is that while we train people on a couple of skills, we have the short courses, we have the long courses, we have the certifications. We expect you to go to the job market. And the way you introduce yourself to the job market is via cover letter, where you actually apply for a job, or you just want to introduce yourself to people who would want to hire in the future. So we are saying that a cover letter is very, very important because it's actually the first opening, is the first view, is the first feeling, is the first personalization of you to the would-be employers out there. So we're saying that over 90% of all the cover letters that are actually done are either bad, average, or poor. In that sense, we are saying that they actually don't meet what we are supposed to, how they're supposed to be written, which means that over 90% of all the people who write cover letters are not able to actually get opportunities. Not that their CVs were poor or they didn't have the skills, or they were not appealing enough to the hiring managers. Remember, we have hundreds or thousands of people applying for one particular post that is advertised. Therefore, for you to be the person who is going to shine as opposed to the others, you really have to have something in terms of a cover letter that is very, very appealing to the hiring persons. So the cover letter helps you to personalize yourself, to stand out from the crowd, so that you're able actually to move on to the next stage. Because the cover letter should actually be so exciting to the hiring person, the hiring manager, the human resource manager, that this person wants to proceed to view your CV. And once they view your CV, that's how you're able to, they're able to shortlist you so that they can invite you for an interview. Therefore, we want all the people who train with IET to not just, because we know IET, we've done this for 34 years and we offer quality skills in terms of the trainings that we have, in terms of imparting knowledge. We don't want you to, as a graduate of IET, to miss out when you go to the job market as a result of you not being able to write a good cover letter, as a result of you not being able to write a good CV, as a result of you not being able to prepare well for the interview. So if we package you well as IET, we expect you to also not have challenges when you go out to the job market. And that's the essence of this presentation. So having said that, what exactly is a cover letter? And as you can see, there are a lot of new graduates, but the jobs, you can see they fall off as a result of all these issues I've been talking about in terms of a poor cover letter, a poor CV, not preparing well. Yet they all have skills because they're graduates, but as you can see, getting to the jobs is a big challenge because of lack of this preparation. So we're saying that a cover letter is a document that you submit as part of your job application alongside your resume or CV. We're saying it's a document that you submit. So is it just any other document? Is there a way it's supposed to be formatted? Is there a way it's supposed to be structured? What makes your cover letter different from the other people so that you are the one who is going to be chosen to be actually shortlisted for an interview? So this is the essence of our discussion today. So we're saying that it's not just a standalone document as the application letter. And the purpose of a cover letter is to introduce you and briefly summarize your professional background. Remember, the CVs may be a bit similar between one or another candidate, because you'd expect it to have probably an introduction to show your education, a background, your work experience. It will have referees, which are just standard ways of doing things globally. But then it's very hard for two people to write the same cover letter because they don't think exactly the same. I mean, even twins have different fingerprints. So the cover letter is where you're able to distinguish yourself from anybody else, because you're able to personalize yourself. You're able to bring out what's unique about you. You're able to have a different way of viewing you as opposed to the general crowd where we have everybody writing probably the same thing in a CV or having the same qualification. So we're saying that a good cover letter is supposed to impress the hiring manager, recruiting officer, or the headhunter, and convince them you're the best candidate for the role that has been advertised. So you can clearly see that if the hiring manager is not pleased from the word go, then they may not even go and view your CV. And if they don't view your CV, you end up in the shredding bin in terms of the qualifications that are not actually going to move to the next level. And this is what we don't want any IT graduate to actually come across or face. So when should you write a cover letter? So we're saying that you should always include a cover letter in a job application, even if the hiring manager never reads it. Submitting a cover letter is as important as submitting a resume if you want to look like a serious candidate. Of course, in later presentations, we're going to look at the differences between a cover letter and a resume, but for this case, we are going to concentrate on the cover letter. So we're saying that if the employer requests a cover letter as part of the screening process, not sending one is a huge red flag, and will probably get your application tossed into the no pile immediately. Remember, nowadays, as a result of the technology improvement in hiring, not all applications actually go at faced by human being the first time. Nowadays, we have what we refer to as the application tracking kind of machines. So they have the bare minimum that they require. If a cover letter is supposed to be 1 page and you write 2 pages, for instance, you're going to have a problem. If the cover letter does not capture some particular items like address, you're going to have a problem. So the no pile that we're talking about here does not need to be the physical one that used to be way back. The machine alone will reject you, and by the time they go to look at the few people the machine has selected, that is the automatic, the application sorting out machine is going to have a problem, or the software that is going to be at hand. So saying that, on the other hand, if the job advertisement does not require a cover letter from the candidates, adding one shows you went an extra mile. Remember, you're trying to separate yourself from the crowd. Let's imagine a position that needs to be filled by one person, yet there are 2,500 applicants. I mean, it's so hard for the hiring person to just make a blanket assumption of all of them. So they'll start what we would say like sorting out people based on items that can disqualify them. So for instance, you can have one criteria that anybody who does not have a cover letter, don't proceed to the CV. So in the event that you don't have a cover letter, automatically you're going to be left out. So putting in the effort to write a cover letter can set you apart from other candidates with similar professional experience and skills. And it could even sway the hiring manager to call you for an interview if you do it right. That is very, very true. You'll find everybody with a degree, everybody probably with a diploma, everybody probably with a CCNA, everybody with a computer, but you see, those are raw skills, and you may even be better than the candidates you are competing with. But then your way of presenting yourself is actually very, very important. In a previous presentation, during a past career fair, we looked at the grooming process. So while at this point, I would look at it like you're grooming yourself in terms of the application, while in the actual grooming, the physical one is where you go to the actual interview and you're going to look, you need to be groomed. So along, from the list of the candidates who come up for the interview alone, you can be able to see somebody who has grooming problems, and that alone could be a point of distinguishing one candidate from another. The same case with a cover letter. So a cover letter that is written well, that has all what is required, helps you to stand out from the other people that are actually being considered. So how can your cover letter achieve this? What we are talking about, helping you to stand out. You're saying that first of all, it should complement your resume and not copy it. You know, the cover letter is your chance to elaborate on important achievements, skills, or anything else that your resume does not give you the space to cover. So for example, if you have an employment gap on your resume, the cover letter is a great place to explain why it happened and how it helps you to grow as a person. That's what we're saying. You might find other people don't have employment gaps, but you have. So why is this? And you're able to actually explain that, why you're the best candidate and why you should not be disadvantaged based on probably other points that exist on you. So now let's proceed to look at the actual cover letter. What should be in the first paragraph? We're going to look at a practical cover letter later on, but let's go now into the formatting bits of it. And we're saying that in the first paragraph, you're supposed to introduce yourself and tell the employer why you are applying for the job. You know, you can include your excitement of applying for the job and how it aligns with your career goals. I mean, it should be eye-catching. It should not be boring to somebody. When you read things that are so common that everybody feels is just the standard one that we're used to. But when you have something catchy, based on the research that you've done of the company from their website, articles you've read, and something which is out of the normal, then you stand out as a good candidate. So in the first paragraph, you should ensure that you actually bring out an eye-catching element to the cover letter that is not the common one. Then we have the middle paragraph where you're saying that you dig into your relevant experience. In other words, how does the job that is advertised, how do you fit in? How does that job actually match with your skills? And then that in that sense that you're the best candidate, how is it? By showing that you have the relevant experience. So talk about the specific skills and qualifications that make you the perfect candidate. You make connections between your previous accomplishments and do not repeat the bullet points of your CV. In other words, let not the cover letter play the role of the CV because the CV is there. Remember, we were saying that the cover letter is supposed to be as brief as possible. At least 1 page, 3 to 4 paragraphs, just in brief, so that they're very eye-catching. And also remember, if you create a very long cover letter, it shows that you have a problem in being able to summarize your issues as well as present your issues in a concise way, in a brief and concise way. You don't want to ask somebody a question and they answer a question for so long until you get bored. The same case with a cover letter. I mean, I have your CV, I understand what you need to, what you have done, where you have been and all that. But in brief, tell me why I need to consider you and not all other people that are actually in the queue. Then we have the third paragraph, which also is the last one. You're saying that remember to thank the employer, make clarification, for instance, if there is any major gaps in your employment history, include a call to action. You see, that's one point that a lot of candidates forget. Why were you writing? So what do you want me to do with your documents now that you've sent them to me, or to the hiring manager? So what do you want me to do with it, So you need to show that you really be very happy to be invited for an interview or to be shortlisted to come for an interview, and you're available probably on all platforms. You're ready for a physical interview or on the online platforms that we have, like the one that we are using today. So the call to action is in fact, the first bit is introduce self. The second paragraph we said is whereby you show your skills and why you may be the best candidate, because again, we're employing somebody to come and work, so you need skills. Then lastly is call to action, and that is very, very, very important. Then of course, you need to provide a complimentary clause and a signature that is friendly and formal. So we need to understand in this last bit of closing, when you write a letter where you don't know the person who is going to be the hiring person in terms of a name, whereby you use the dear sir, in that case, the salutation down there, you actually say yours faithfully. But whereby you understand somebody is either Alex or Eunice, you can say dear Eunice, therefore you need to close it as yours. I said when you close yours as when you don't know the name of the person, use yours faithfully, But where you actually know the name of the person, you can use other things like concisely and the like. But we're going to be seeing the examples that we can actually be able to look at. Yes. So now I'll go to the actual letter shortly, but for now let me be able to finalize this bit and how to send the letter. There's always this question that is always asked, like, should I attach my cover letter to the body of the email that I'm sending, assuming I'm sending it online? And there's always an agreement that you see when somebody opens an email, the first thing they find is your letter. So there's a common agreement that we need to attach the letter to the body of the email and have the CV attached. If you need to attach the cover letter, so be it, but at least it needs to be in the body, not give the hiring person so much trouble to go and search for it. So if you're going to use an envelope, of course, you close it together with the CV, with the cover letter being on top. And there you're able to copy, you're talking about, I think I talked about this bit of using the email, and therefore that is very, very important, whereby you have the re means refer. This is the issues that you're actually talking about, like for instance, application for a business administrator position. Then remember to attach your CV because that's something else that a lot of people forget. Now, there are some key points that you need to be aware about a cover letter. Whereby you have dear hiring manager, at least you need to research a little bit. If you go to professional platforms like LinkedIn, if I want to know the hiring manager of something like Unilever or South African Breweries or Equity Bank or whatever company you're looking at least it's not hard to find this data. Some of it is readily available. But where it is non-existent, you can use dear sir stroke, madam. But where it exists and is publicly available, it looks a bit, showing an element of lack of concern or research when you don't include that yet it's readily available. People like to be addressed in a personal way, where you use their names, and that way it gives you an extra mile on it. Quantify your achievement using metrics, at least percentages, like for instance 96% of what you may be explaining, because the others look like it was better, I was the best of what, to what extent, you know. You also don't need to highlight what is already in the CV. You need to complement it by personalizing it, you know. They're saying that at least you should make a cover letter of 1 page, 3 to 4 paragraphs are enough to do that. It goes along with your CV, that's very true. And it should be readable in 10 seconds. So research has shown that the average hiring person looks at your cover letter just for 10 seconds. If they're not convinced, they move to the next. So you can ask yourself, if you just count 10 seconds, what is it that I'm going to say that will make somebody actually be excited to proceed to my CV? Because if they're not excited, or if they're bored from the first 10 seconds, then they don't proceed to the next. Then of course you're saying, remember to thank the employer. Also, being involving in this work of recruiting can be involving, so therefore thank them at least for the opportunity of even reading your cover letter and the like. So in case of a major gap where it comes to employment history, use the cover letter. So thank you so much for that. So I can proceed to share a cover letter, an example of a cover letter that is based on what we are talking about. This is a cover letter of an imaginary person known as Eunice Mwada, who has a postal address. Who has a postal address. It also has a date, and it's addressed to a human resource manager of Kalimoni Chemicals Limited in Mombasa with the postal address. Here we have Dear Sir, Madam, and it's an application for the position. We are saying we insert the position and the reference number if there is one. And we're saying that I would like to apply for the above position, and having read the job advert and job description, I believe I possess the right qualities and skills to carry out a role to a high standard. I'm positive, enthusiastic, and self-motivated person who understands the importance of customer service in a role of this nature. This is, for instance, an example of a role that could be in customer service. I believe the life experiences I have gained so far would enable me to deal with your customers in a positive manner, in line with the expectations of this role, and also as per the code of conduct required by the organization. Of course, every company, we expect it to have a policy. So you need to show that commitment, that not only are you saying that on a personal level you improve to fit the company, but you're also willing to go by the code of conduct of the company. The key skills, qualities, and attributes I have that I feel will be beneficial to this role include: the first one is a reliable, trustworthy, and flexible approach to all tasks. That shows you are open. You're not a difficult person who is be rigid whenever instructions are given. Being able to maintain a genuine and then a happy, a positive demeanor while at work. You know, I think that there was a small bit, and I was leaving it intentionally to show that you don't need to leave typing errors or grammatical errors in your document. So the way you're seeing them appearing funny when they come up is the same way a hiring person will feel. So if you put a capital letter in between a sentence and it doesn't have a full stop on the other end, it shows an element of disorganization that somebody needs to watch against. I've seen the one for the skill that it was left out. It will not make sense if it doesn't have the K. The H capitals in between letters, they bring confusion, and they show that you're disorganized, and you're also not keen to detail, because you need to have gone through your letter before you actually submit it. Then an understanding of how important customer service is within the role. Yeah, of course, because you see customer service, if a role is customer service and you understand how important it is, what serving customers means into revenues of a company, that is very, very critical. Then able to communicate professionally with all customers and clients, and ability to work under pressure and complete all tasks in line with the job description. If I'm successful in the application, I believe you'll be impressed with my positive attitude to work, my ability to deliver excellent services, and also my ability to learn the role quickly. So yours faithfully, you insert your name, your telephone number, and your email address. This is a brief example of a cover letter. That can, of course, there are many versions. If you look again here at this word position, it's something that people may not want to look at quickly. but you can read quickly it's a position, but that word again is not spelled right. So if you find like the I is supposed to be there. Therefore, again, you may ignore like reading them like they're okay, but again, you'll find that when they go to the other end, especially when they are printed or even in soft copy, they don't show you to be a serious candidate. So these are just examples of showing that we need to actually be careful with how we write them and how we express them. So I pray that any graduate of IET should be able to write a good cover letter, and we are going to be seeing shortly a CV and how to prepare for the interview, so that after we train them so well, they don't go out there and they have challenges in being able to be absorbed in the job market. So thank you so much for your time, and I welcome any question from anybody who may have one. Thank you, and back, and I welcome any question. Okay, I'll assume the silence means that we don't have any questions, so I'll invite Samson from Buruburu next to do a presentation on how to write an award-winning CV to help our candidates also be able to craft, to show the skills they have learned and their academics and their work experience together, so that they're not disadvantaged out there in the job market. Karibu sana, Samson.
Thank you very much, James, for welcoming me. I don't know if I'm audible. Someone, Donny, can
Yes, I can hear you, but you're breaking.
Oh, I'm breaking. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me try again. Check.
Yeah, you okay now?
I'm okay now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the feedback.
You're welcome.
So a little bit of introduction. I am Samuel Samson Omolo Mwata. I am a trainer at IIT Buruburu campus. Here we are at Buruburu complex, that is Mesora for those people who come from Buruburu. First floor, and the building is the one opposite the police station. Yeah. So I'm going to present on how to write your CV. Just as the cover letter, you have the employer or the resource manager has 6 to 10 seconds. The CV also, if your cover letter wowed the employer, then your CV also has about 6 to 10 seconds. That is an average on ratings. So what is a CV? It's a curriculum vitae. So a CV is a comprehensive document that outlines the professional and academic history, skills, achievements, and other relevant information. Now, this is not just you detailing stories of how you have been achieving things, but it is chronological, professional, academic history, skills, and achievement. So it is often used during applying of jobs and positions, and also to brand ourselves, and also to monitor the progression of our learning or our improvement or our development as a person. Every time we gain something, we always have to update our CV, even if we are not going to apply for a job. So it is always good to look and update your CV every time that you are upscaling or upgrading yourself, so that you can also compare every year. After 6 months, you should always look at your CV and see if you are improving or you are stagnant at one point. So writing a compelling CV is a crucial and a key skill. And in fact, writing a compelling CV is one of the skills that you can also earn from. For instance, right now there are people who are just gaining a financial gain from just revamping people's CV. You give them your CV and they make it a standard CV. So having these skills is not only good for you for the next job you are applying for, but also can be a source of income for you. So here is a step-by-step guide that you can create a CV. For mostly those who are coming from high school, for those who are just going into, seeking employment, you come out of school and sometimes then you realize that, rather than the composition that you wrote a CV, you basically have no idea how to write a compelling CV that can bid for a job. So you realize this and you find yourself, you cannot go back to your English teacher in your primary school or in your secondary school. Maybe even English was not one of your best subjects because, one of other things. So here is a way and a step guide to write a CV. Now, number one thing, there are different types of CV. I have classified them into three basic types. There are so many of them, depending on whether the country you're coming from or the format that you're using. But I focused on how they are written. We have a chronological CV that focuses on your work history, your experiences, and also some of your skills that you have. And it's listed in a reverse chronological order. That is from the recent one to the later track. Then we have a functional that emphasizes on your skills. Yeah, we are looking on your skills. What are your qualifications rather than your work history? What have you got? Then we have the one that combines the two blend, the chronological and the functional element that combines the two types of CV. So in your CV, basically what we have is the personal information or the contact information. Here is where we include your full names, your professional title, your phone number, your email address. You can also put your LinkedIn profile, which is optional. I also see some of the CVs have their Facebook. Do not put your social media accounts here. We are putting here LinkedIn, which is also optional because LinkedIn is one of the most official used social media platform that we have right now. In fact, this LinkedIn is optional. It is not a must, but it's optional. And if you put it, we regard it as an official, a professional social media platform that we have right now. Facebook, Twitter, leave it. Do not put it in your CV because sometimes whatever we post in those are sometimes very personal to us and we may not want it to the professional world. So put your social media platforms, your TikTok, your Twitter, and as the Generation Z or the Generation Z will want to explore and put their own Twitter handles. You find somebody to an interview and they want to share their Twitter handles. For CV, you keep it professional. Address is also optional because at this day and age, less and less people now use the addresses. But for some countries and for some applications, the address is to be indicated in your CV. So this is just about your person. Other than that, after your personal information, we also have the personal statement or the objective. Now, here is where your writing skills now matters. Now, this highlights your goals. Some of us even don't have goals. Don't worry, you will find a goal. You will find your purpose. Some of us, at this particular point, you try to wonder, and that's why you want to Google other people's objectives and goals, and you have a clash on your goals and your objectives. But here is where you write what you aim to achieve in your next role. This is tailored to this is why we say that it is tailored to the job that you are applying. That's why we say, as when you're writing a CV, you should not apply a job with the same CV that you used in a previous job. CV is dynamic. It is never static. That's why I'm telling you, we should always look at a CV each and every time. CV is dynamic. It's never static. You should always apply, whenever you are applying for a job, same as the cover letter. It is not the same cover letter that you use to apply for all jobs. This is not that kind of a scenario. CVs must change, and we find that most of the time we have the fault of not changing our CV. We should customize each and every time you are applying for a job, because this is your dream job. Right now, I know people just apply jobs because they want to get a job, but that is not the case. You should apply for your dream job. You should apply for where you feel you have a purpose and you have a goal to achieve in a certain organization or company. So, for example, of an objective, it is not a long paragraph, or is it you telling us your story of how you want to change the world, but it is just a short sentence or a short paragraph that gives us what is your ambition in this job that you're applying for. For example, results-driven marketing specialist with over 5 years experience in digital campaigns, seeking to leverage expertise in SEO, that is the search engine optimization, and social media strategy in the company now that you are seeking to you are seeking to get employment in. So it should be customized each and every time that you are applying for a new job. So never keep it static. Never keep it the same to all companies that you are applying to, or any company that you're applying to, maybe, so that your goal or your aim. And a hint on this is that always look at the vision or the goals or the objectives of the company. Each and every company always has an objective, a vision. So try to customize your objective to their vision, so that when the employer looks at your CV and looks at their objective, they see this one is in line with our objectives. Another thing is your work experience. Now, most of if you are just coming out of school, you're a fresh graduate, you might not have much work experience, and therefore your CV would take the education first, then the work experience. But when you have, when I'm talking to my audience, I'm talking to a large variety of audience. So when you are one who has been in the industry for some time, then you will start with your work experience. Now, you list your professional experience in reverse chronology. That is from your latest job now to the ones that you had worked in. So it contains the job title, the company name, the location of the city, that is also optional, the dates of employment, that is when did you start that employment to what date did you end it. Now, for example, a marketing manager in XYZ company, that was in New York in January 2022, that is the present. So that will be something that you will see at the first. So here you will also put the achievements, or what was your job specification role. So developed and implemented digital marketing strategies, increasing website traffic by 50% within 6 months. So remember that whenever you are crafting your CV, make sure you craft it also as per the requirements needed. Let us see that where you are or what you have been doing is something that we need as a company. That, for example, whenever there is a job or vacancy position, there is always what will be the roles of the person who is applying for this position. So make sure that when you are writing even your work experience, please, after going through the requirements needed by the employer, now come and craft your work experience to meet and to show the potential employer that the roles that they need, you are convenient, or you are very well capable of doing them, because it is part of your experience. You are experienced in certain areas that they are looking for to fill the position. So something like led a team of 5 team building. So these are also, you put your skills here. This is some of the areas where you also unleash your skills in a crafted, creative way that lead a team of 5 in executing successful social media campaigns, resulting in a 30% boost in engagement. So even here, you are unleashing some of the skills you have, some of the work experience and skills that you have in the job market. When we go to education, you list the education background in reverse chronological order. Also, you start with the most attained educational level. So if you have a master's, you place your master's. If yours is a doctorate, you put your doctorate. You're a professor, you start with that. So you start with your most recent. So you start with if you have a degree. For I know most of the students even that we have even their certificate, their Form 4 certificate. So you start with the degree, the university or the college, the location, and maybe the graduate date. This is if relevant, or if it's optional also. Remember that CV should be sometimes precise, because the employer has approximately 10 seconds to scan through your CV and find if this is the right candidate to call for an interview. Remember, the goal here is always that after reading your cover letter, the person goes, there is the action. The person visits your CV, and after reviewing your CV, the person now has the action to therefore call you for an interview and or shortlist you for an interview. So make sure that this thing is very precise. For example, Bachelor of Science in Marketing, University ABC, Los Angeles, that is the place, and when did you graduate? Very simple, very precise. Sometimes we have seen CVs that, education background goes onto the primary. Some of the employers don't want to see your primary education or where you went for primary. Some of the employers, it doesn't matter even where you went to secondary. You want to know what educational level, what is the highest educational level, what is the highest education level do you have? And sometimes the university also sometimes do matters, because they want to know where did you get this education from. We have heard of people having, fake certificates. So you want to counter check sometimes. If it is from NEC, we can track it back. Look at the chain. Did NEC really offer this certificate? So educational background is also very important for you to have. The next section of your CV is the skills area. Now, here you include relevant skills aligned with the job description. Let me tell you guys, and I'm going to repeat and stress on this, align your CV to the job description. Align everything to the job description. Focus both on hard and soft skills. So here, where we have the, what are the skills that you have? And for example, we at IIT, we teach some of the soft skills that enables one candidate to stand out from the rest. Something like digital marketing. We have our digital marketing classes. We have our ICDL classes also that enables you to be able to operate and use a computer. Where we have analysis data, data analysis programs. We have programs that can give you an edge even in search engine optimization and so on. So here at this part of your CV, mention some of the skills you have, hard-on skills that you have. Some of the hard-on skills that you can have as a computer literate person is maybe you can configure some network devices, or maybe you have a skill on maintenance, repair and maintenance. So you can mention some of your skills here at the skills area. Now, An addition to that is some of the certifications. Now we have it can be optional because remember you want to be precise on what you have, but it is also a relevant part of your CV because other than just the education that you have, other than just the degree certificate or the certificate or the diploma that you have gotten, what are the certifications, professional certifications that you have been able to do? This gives the employer a trust that you are a person who researches, you are a person who reads, you are a person who is up to date, you are a person who has gone an extra mile to find the relevant skills according to the sector, according to the sector of the job specification. So here you can write the relevant certification programs that you have completed, and even you can attach the certificates or the badges. Remember that some certifications have badges. So it is very important for you to mention some of the certifications because it gives you an edge higher than the rest. If you don't have these certifications, you will be sometimes pulled off. So certification is a very important part of the CV, gives you an edge higher than the others. An additional sections that that you might optionally include is the languages that you can speak proficiency, your proficiency level in some languages. When we mentioned on the positioning yourself on the job market, we had mentioned on thinking globally. You can see even in our country today that we have attracted a lot of tourists in some time. You have attracted a lot of foreigners, and having an extra language rather than English and Swahili, having languages like the Chinese, having languages like the German, having languages like the Spanish, you'll be very surprised to understand that the most spoken language in the whole world is Espanol. You will wonder how is it more popular than English. And so adding, remember that this is optional and we are crafting our CV based on the requirements that the job requires. The volunteer, what you have been able to volunteer, some of these NGOs, when you are applying for some of these NGOs, they want to know, have you ever even volunteered anywhere for your time, for your services, for your skills? Have you ever volunteered? Most of the time when we are working or when you are in a panel, you will listen. One of the questions will prompt the interviewer or interviewee to say that I want to give back to the society. How can you give back to the society when you have never even volunteered? So it is very crucial sometimes to know how to craft your CV to have even the volunteering experience. So the projects that you have done, yes, the projects that you have done, if they are soft projects, when you are in an IT sector, when you are applying for an IT position, we want to know what have you able to do, even if you have not gotten a job, what have you been able to do? Do you have a GitHub account? Do you have projects that you have undertaken in your GitHub account? There are projects other than this. If you are volunteered, have you ever led a team? Have you ever led a project, notable projects related to the job? Now remember that this is you only put it if you have something that aligns yourself to the job description that has been placed. Yeah, we have places that require you to show that you can lead well. So you maybe mention, they want a manager. You maybe mention some of the managing companies and notable projects that you have done. Maybe you are in company XYZ. And in company XYZ, you managed to lead a project on ZYZ. And you show that these are notable projects. I know you, if you are present in our first presentation, you would notice that the presenter mentioned one of the persons who had led the company to the next level. Also, we have the publication on articles that you have published. In almost all courses, you always do a research paper. There is always a research that you have done. If it is your school research, after your school research, what have you been able to do other than your school research? Did you just leave it there? Here is also where you put your leadership positions. Where were you a leader? Achievements and award. Have you been ever in a competition? Have you ever won something even in your work experience? In all industries, there is always an awards being given. What awards have you been able to achieve? In high school, there was this science project. What awards have you ever been able to achieve? Then you can also put your hobbies. It is optional also sometimes for you to include your hobbies. Then we have the references. Now, in the references, references can include statements like references available upon request, because right now there was a data law that has been passed that you're not supposed to be sharing information or for other people, for example, their contacts, because we used to write the reference and their contact and their email address and their position in that company. And with the data laws right now, you're not allowed to share somebody's information without their consent, and some many laws that have been passed. But you can research on that. But it is, if somebody needs a reference, you can always ask first your referees there. Do not just put a reference there without asking your referees if they are comfortable and if they are available, or if they are still in that company. Just try to find out if they are still in that position, because things change. Yeah. So try to find out if they are still in that position and if they would be comfortable for you to use them as their referees. So then you can give out their contacts. But if not, just note that our references are available upon request, or leave this section out. So right now we don't allow you to do that. So what are the formatting tips? So length is typically 1 to 2 pages, depending on what experiences do you have. Somebody who has been in the industry. I've met CVs that even are published books, like the late Professor Magoha had a published book CV. That was his CV. It is like a booklet, because of his position, of his age, of his experience. He cannot go under that. That was his standard, So you use professional fonts like Times New Romans, Arial, Calibri, and such forth. Do not put funny fonts. We also use the size 10 to 12 points, 14 to 16 for headers. Now, margin is 1 inch on all sides, and you can use bullet point for easy readability and for easy clarity. Your CV should be very clear and precise, to the point. Consistency, keep formatting. Consistency. I want to stress this as much as possible. I want you to know that do not use the same CV for all jobs. Make sure that you keep on formatting and have consistency throughout the document. The document formatting feature, that formatting feature, have that consistency. It is more appealing. But do not use the same document or the same CV, crafted CV for all jobs. Consistency here, I mean the formatting. That formatting is consistent throughout the document. Let no other headers be larger than the others, and in some sections they are smaller. So if it is bold, let all headers be bold. Something else that you should do with all documents is to proofread. carefully proofread your CV to eliminate any typos or grammatical errors. Yeah, consider asking a friend or a mentor to review it so that you can see what to change. And as you give your friend or a mentor to review your CV, make sure you also give them with the job description so that as they look at the job description and they look at your CV, they let them find that the CV is crafted to your dream job. So I will repeat again and again that do not let your CV remain static. Find your CV wherever it is. If you are in a job market, if you are in the industry right now, find your CV wherever it is and make sure you go through it, edit it or upgrade it to the skills that now you have gained, to the work experience now you have gained. If you are eyeing for a job somewhere, please take the job descriptions and tailor-make your CV to the job description. Also, Google research on the job, on the company that you are going to, so that you can find their objectives, their visions, their purpose, what they're trying to do, where they see themselves in the next couple of years, so that even in your hobbies or in your leadership or in your award, so that everything is crafted to align yourself to the job. And when you do that, I'm sure that you'll be making history in that new job. Thank you very much. I now appeal, or I now post, if there is anybody with a question, you can ask. Anybody with a question, you can ask, or you can share with us in the message box, the comments down below, so that we can get in touch with you and answer your question in due time. If there not be any question, I trust that you are now looking at your CV in mind and the areas that you need to improve your CV. And I wish you well in your next opportunity as you are applying for a job. Karibu sana pia IAT, where we'll skill you up and skill up your CV. Nice sharing this with you. Let us see each other next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samson. I think that was really quite a well-prepared document and a good presentation. I believe it will be extremely beneficial for our students, because like we said, once again, it's very unfair to give people award level, global level based education in terms of skill set, but then they're not able to package themselves to the job market, and therefore there's an advantage. So thank you very much. So the next presenter is Ruth. Ruth is going to make a presentation on how to prepare for the interview on behalf of Mombasa branch. Karibu sana, Ruth.
Asante sana, Dennis. Good evening, all. My name is Ruth from IIT Mombasa, from the corporate department. I'll be doing this on behalf of Simon, who's the center manager. So can you allow me to share this? So this is what we'll be looking at today, how to prepare for an interview. So basically, after we've now built our CVs and our cover letters, now it's time for us to prepare for an interview. So briefly, we'll look at what an interview is, the elements of an interview, types of an interview, and how you should conduct yourself during the interviews. So we'll start by defining what an interview is. So an interview is just a formal conversation between two or more people, typically the interviewer or one or two, and the interviewee, where questions are just asked and answers are given. This is just to understand the person who's been interviewed based on what they had put on their CVs and on their cover letters. So purposes of interviews, we have a couple of them. We'll look at whatever we have. We have job interviews, For those seeking jobs, promotions, or greener pastures from one company to the other, we'll have job interviews. They could be written, oral, formal, or informal. We shall look at that as we progress. Then we have research interviews. This comes in when you are doing your studies, probably your undergraduate or something of the sort, and you're given a topic of study. Here you have to research on that particular topic and see what people have done so that you can identify gaps. For you to do this, you'll have to conduct research interviews, and you'll visit organization where you will collect data that from people that you will use for your findings in your projects. Then we have media interviews. I believe all of us are familiar with this. These are the ones we see on a daily between the media houses and our politicians or different people from different sectors of our economy. We have admission interviews. I assume we have them at our centers where we'll have an interview with the candidate just to understand their background, what they have done, what they haven't done, so that we can advise and see what course to take or what is their career path. This also happens in some of our local universities where you even sit in a board that probably decides whether to have you in or not. Then investigative interviews, we've seen them in documentaries and instances where we need to get more information about something that had happened. Yeah, then form of interviews that we have in-person interviews. This is one-on-one where you visit an organization and you find a panel or a board that interviews you and asks you questions that they expect you to answer appropriately. Then we have over the phone, as it says, it's a phone call where the interviewee is interviewed through a telephone conversation. So instead of coming into the organization, the questions are asked over a phone call. Then we have video conferencing. I think this is common through Teams, Zoom, where if the interviewees are far away from the physical location of the organization, then this is done just to understand and have a one-on-one conversation with the persons interested. Then through other communication channels. Then interviews can be structured, semi-structured, and structured. Structured meaning they follow a particular order from how questions are asked from the beginning of the interview to the end. They could be open or closed answers. Structured is strictly either open or closed. Semi-structured is where we have both open interviews and closed interviews. The unstructured is where there is no form that is used. So the questions are randomly asked and are answered depending on the goal of the interview by the organization that is carrying out the interviews. Then we have, let's look at the importance of preparing for an interview. This is very important because it will determine whether you will get the job at the end of the day or not. So the first thing is you research about the company. Over a period of time, I have conducted interviews and I can tell for sure this is something candidates should do. Research about the organization, try get their organizational charts, when the organization was formed, their goals, their objectives, their mission, their vision. This gives you a clear picture of what you should expect during your interview. So learn about the organization you're going to be interviewed to, understand their mission, their values, their products and their services. What do they practically offer? Their recent news and their any notable achievements. If they have won any awards in the recent past, please have that because it might come in handy during an interview. So basically, when you research about the company, this demonstrates that you have an interest and you have the knowledge about what the company does, and basically you will now know how to answer your questions during the interview based on what the company does. Then you have to understand the role that you applying for or you're going to be interviewed for. Understand the qualification, the responsibilities, and the roles. Do you have the skills? Do you have the experience? Do you have you made any achievements in regard to that particular role you're applying for? That comes in handy because at times you find it, we as the ones who interview people, we clearly find that the interviewee does not understand practically what they're supposed to be doing. Hence, that becomes a point of disqualification automatically. Then practice common interview questions. I normally say, have someone ask you these questions. The common question is, tell us about yourself. And I've always had an issue with this question. This question practically tells you to tell us about your academic achievements, your academic path, what you have done, where you are. Do you have any certifications? Do you have any qualifications? Do not tell us about your family or where you come from. We're practically not interested. Why should you be the best suitable person for that job? Please have answers that are relevant to whatever role you're applying to. Don't tell us because you went to the best schools. No, tell us because maybe you have an extra certification or you have done something extra in the field that will make you the best suitable candidate for it. Understand your strengths and weaknesses. Here is an area where I think people should take time with. Tell us your strengths, which is easy. When it comes to your weakness, please make them look a bit more professional and definitely make them make sense. There are weaknesses, but they're weaknesses that can be worked on and help us achieve the organizational objectives at the end of the day. So be confident, be short and precise, don't tell stories, get to the point, and yeah, confidence is the key at the end of the day. So prepare questions to ask. At the end of the interview, when the interviewer asks you, do you have any questions for us? Please ask a question or two. Ask about the company, culture, ask about if there are any career development opportunities in the organization. Ask them what do they expect from the person they'll be hiring for that particular role. These questions show that there's interest and there's also an engagement between you and the panel. It may be the differentiating factor for you and the rest of the people who had been interviewed before. So review your resume. Samson has just taken us through about how to prepare an adequate CV. Dennis took us through about your cover letters. Let them be in line with whatever role you're applying for. Do not apply for an IT job and your cover letter is stating for a plumbing job. Tailor make your resume, your cover letter to fit in the particular job you're applying for. So review them, understand your CV, because most of the time we find that we'll ask questions based on your CV and your cover letter. And if you do not probably understand it, then it becomes something else for you to explain. So dress appropriately. Yeah, so your first impression to the board, or rather the panel, is something else. So make sure you give a positive first impression. Dress in something you're comfortable in, not necessarily a new suit or a new dress, but something that is presentable and you're comfortable in. You don't have to keep adjusting or moving, from time to time for you to get comfortable. So dress in something that is presentable, but also comes with some bit of comfort. Then arrive early. If your interview is at 8:30, please make it by 8, latest 8:15, because some interviews, time is a factor, an element that is of importance to them. And you may find sometimes candidates are disqualified at the point of arrival because they didn't keep time as stipulated. So it also shows that you're a reliable person and you respect the interviewer's time. Next, practice nonverbal communication. This is key. How you sit, the tone of your voice, your body language, your facial expression is something else. Do not cringe or make faces that will pass a message that is not supposed to be there to the interviewer or to the panel. Be soft, not really soft, but just be you. Put a smile where necessary. Yeah, and okay, sit well, all that. Just show a bit of professionalism when you're communicating to the panel. So prepare your materials, have your CV, have your cover letter, have your academic testimonials in place, have your list of references. Please have a pen and a notepad where you can write questions that probably you will ask at the end of the interview. So this helps in easy identification of yourself as an individual. Yeah. Lastly, follow up. After the interview, you could probably send a thank you email or a note to the panel or the interviewer expressing your appreciation for that particular opportunity. This will leave a positive impression and the enthusiasm for the role. But again, don't keep sending these emails over and over again. It now becomes something else that may not even get you the job. But an email or a note for appreciating the opportunity is a bit necessary. So that's it. Basically, preparing for interviews is just a conversation to understand whoever is being brought on board. So if you're looking forward to going for one, please prepare well. Know what is expected of you. Dress well. Ask questions. Yeah. If anyone has a question, please ask your question.
Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Dennis.
Do I need to go and view the area where I'll be going to the interview beforehand, or I can wait?
This is easy, practically easy. Now we have Google Maps. Probably you could try search where the location of the organization is. Yes. So you just go to Google Maps, place the location, because I believe by the time you're being called for the interview, they will probably tell you where they are based or where they're located. So if you can make it physically, okay. If you can't make it there physically, just go on Google Maps, try have a rough idea of where the organization is based at. Yeah. Any other questions? If none is there, I bet we've had a good time. Today's session was practically something I think we all need to even ask where we are. We need to review our CVs. We need to prepare well for probably our next interviews. If there's nothing more, nothing less, I'll hand it over back to Dennis. Dennis, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruth. I think that was a beautiful presentation. It's the importance of teamwork when we make all these presentations. I would like to thank everybody who participated. I know this time around the sharing out of the information was done a bit late and all that. We try to improve on that so that we ensure we have a lot of engagements and people attending. But I'd like to thank you so much, Ruth. At least I can see in Mombasa, you guys are doing a bit of delegation there. Also Sam, I think Sam, you're really developing Samson. I always hear Gladness say that sometimes this presentation is the best. You know, it's a beautiful view when you get such kind of reviews from other areas, so you can see the importance of delegation and developing this. So I would like to thank everybody. Probably, Sam, we can hear from you. I don't know if you can say a comment. You think you're the only one you haven't heard from today. Sam, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Dennis. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry I don't have a camera. I don't have somewhere I can present from. So just listen to my voice. It's okay. So I hope that you are doing well. I liked the presentations. That was good job, guys. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. So thank you, Dennis, for the opportunity, and have yourselves a nice evening.
Thank you so much, Sam. At least we have everybody represented. We've heard from everybody. Lastly, is to thank you so much for everything you've done. I know these things and these presentations and these videos will play a very big role the way we are going up, building up our social media pages and all that, and also prepare our graduates to ensure that they also don't lack. You know, as much as they get the skill, they should be able to get this information for free. I believe it's a value addition to attending IIT, taking a course with IIT, because we just don't prepare. We usually say that prepare the whole person, so that they're not half-baked when they go. They may have the skills, but then they also need to know how to present themselves to the employers and be at the workplace. We shall be having more engaging topics, even that relate to the workplace, so as to ensure that our graduates actually, when they go out there, every employer is happy to have them. They package them well. We're also going to have topics that relate to the workplace, like employability skills and the workplace wellness, which I know will come in handy. So at this point, I think I'll request Ruth to lead us in the closing prayer, and then we can call it a day. Ruth, kindly.
Yes, Manishika of God. Hi, let's pray. Almighty and ever-living Father, we come before you this evening. We thank you for the session that we've had. We thank you for our audience, Lord. We thank you for the information that we have shared, how we pray that it is going to be of benefit to them, and to also ask, Lord Father, as we improve on ourselves as human beings and as we impact knowledge to the society, we pray that you're going to guide us. We pray for organization, our management team, Lord Father, that you're going to guide them all the way to our students. Bless them, cover them with the blood of the Son Jesus Christ. As we end this meeting, we pray that your presence we shall go with us and be with us. For this we ask through your Son Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Have yourselves a beautiful weekend.
Amen. Thank you, Ruth. Bye-bye, everyone. And thank you for your time.